What's up, everybody? This is Jason David Frank, the Green Ranger, and you are watching Ranger Wrap Up. Isa! What's up, everybody?
Let's talk about episode 3 of Power Rangers Dino Fury, Lost Signal. I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Jezer Reyes, who is really the host of the show. He locks it down probably more so than the rest of us because he's consistent. And also Daniel Jerome, Battlestar Galactica. How are you gentlemen doing today?
Doing good. Recovering. I got that second shot and it was a doozy, but now I feel invincible.
Good.
I just got my first shot.
Going out and about, Jezer? Do you feel more comfortable going out and about and talking to people and interacting with people?
Not until everybody else gets their shot, because you can still carry it and give it to people, so I don't want to be a carrier. So I want to wait till everybody gets a shot. I know Disneyland and Universal is opening up soon, and that's pretty exciting, but I feel like whole Texas thing, taking off the mask shit's a little ballsy, but we'll see what happens there.
It's quite ballsy, but hey, it's Texas, and we know we got a lot of viewers from Texas. Speaking of viewers, there's a lot of you guys in the chat right now. Say hello. Let us know where you're from. Robert Amaya, Edward Sanchez. I know you're a Texas guy. Matthew Thompson, Thomas Franco. Daniel, how you been this week?
Pretty good. I just got my first shot, so I gotta wait a month, and then I'll be getting my second.
Anything happened? Did you feel anything?
So that will be great. No, I didn't even get the sore freaking spot, the injection spot. It was just like, oh, okay, great. So I mean, hey, who knows? I may have gotten a placebo. We don't know yet. But Kaiser's pretty
we'll
good.
Just give this motherfucker something
Kaiser's
else.
pretty good. Wink, wink. So hopefully, yeah. Who gives a fuck? I didn't give this guy anything. It's water. But no. So far, I'm feeling pretty good. Didn't even get hit with the fever yet. Nice. So I'm like, all right, this is pretty good. But I just got it on Friday. Or was it Friday? No, my God. No, it was Wednesday. Nice. So I've been good. Nice. So yeah, just living life, man. Still thinking that the symptoms may show up, because they said it can take 2 weeks for the symptoms to even, sometimes there's a whole waiting list.
I think for the first one, I think you're good. You're good for the first one.
That's what I think.
Was I the only one out of the three of us to end up getting COVID?
Wait, did you actually get it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you got tested and they said, you had it.
Yeah, I had. Oh, yeah. Lost my taste, lost my smell. They had the whole nine. I was out for like, I was in really rough shape. Probably 4 out of the like 17 to 18 days I was sick. But it was no fun.
Do you know where it started from, or no?
Yeah, I think I know where I got it. I think, look, and anybody that thinks that COVID's a joke, it is not, and it is easy to get. Like, you guys know Caesar, who's one of my neighbors here. I ran into him just as I was, this is Christmas Eve, actually, or a little bit before Christmas. I ran into him as I was, like, bringing Christmas gifts, and, ended up talking to him for a quick second and didn't know he had COVID. And then I don't know if he knew or not at that point yet. But I ended up getting it on Christmas Day. I felt terrible. And then Stephanie got it like 2 days after me. Luckily, Mia didn't. But yeah, man, it was not fun.
Who knows? Maybe you got antibodies now. Who knows? You might be invulnerable to all that stuff.
I don't say. Yeah. That's a real rarity that people do get.
This is what people really want to know about. They don't care about my health.
Yeah, they do.
Let's talk about a couple of things. First off, Jezer, what are we kicking it off with? The stage show?
The stage show. I mean, over on Twitter, the stage show information. Someone accessed the freaking website, or they went to the website and they just found a bunch of information, which I thought was crazy. But yeah, the stage show is going to happen, and we reported on that, right, Joe?
Yeah, this was about a year ago. We got the character breakdowns for what the show was going to be, introducing new Rangers and kind of the storyline of the show, which is going to happen. Now, we released this story, obviously, before COVID. So actually, this might have been even before a year ago, but we released the story even before COVID. And, obviously things stopped, so we didn't hear anything about it. But I think the first appearance that we heard anything about the stage show, like Jezer was saying, was from somebody on Ranger Board. And then we knew that the show was going to be coming back. Now, we've seen a lot of things on social media about people not liking the helmets and whatnot. Daniel, you want to chime in on that a little bit?
Well, okay. I gotta say, looking at the whole costumes and everything like that, there's a lot of comparisons. People are saying like, "Oh, they're poor quality. They don't even look like screen accurate," and blah blah blah. P.S. You can't have screen accurate suits when you have to be able to fight on a stage. They're not gonna look the same. You have to have that motion, that range of movement. You can't have it. On the show, they have 2 suits. They have one suit for when you stand there and you're like, oh, hey, look, we're looking good for camera. They have another suit they wear when they actually have the stunt coordinators doing everything for the fight scenes. You can't have 2 on a theatrical stage. You can only have 1, so you got to pick the one that does the action because it's a stunt show. The helmets, people are talking trash about them too. But truth of the matter is, when it comes to the helmets, Jezzer, you had something that you said about it earlier. It's the material.
Especially, listen, like when you do shows like out and about, I've seen some live action Power Rangers out and about in the sun doing some stunts, especially like Thanksgiving parades and stuff. That's totally fine. Like lighting is fine, but this is a stage show. There's a lot of stuff going on in the back, like the lights in the back aren't on because you have to keep that theme or keep the ambiance the same, and you can't see shit. Like I've done a lot of like live shows in a turtle suit or random things. There's one time I did this thing for like MTV in a turtle suit, and we went into this club. It's One Oak. I don't know if you guys know it. It's a pretty popular club in LA. And we couldn't see shit. Like, honestly, we couldn't see shit. Like, nothing. So, trying to do stunts with stuff like that, I can only imagine that these suits have to be practical and not, for the aesthetic thing.
Spencer, I have a question for you, actually. You bring up a really good point because you also were in those shoots for the Vanilla Ice stuff, right?
Yep.
Were you on stage with him?
Right. Sometimes next to him.
When you guys were on stage, did you guys have to learn choreographed dance?
Just the dance
all?
that we had put together for the song, and that's about it.
Can you talk to me about how difficult it was just moving in those suits? Like if you I mean, obviously you knew the choreography, but were you able to see everybody else's movement and stuff like that?
Not even a little bit. There's no peripheral vision. I wish I can bring down the head mask right now. There's no peripheral vision, so especially like some of you fans know here, you guys have Ranger suits. There's no vision, and not only that, you're breathing a lot. You're exerting yourself a lot, so you breathe. And one of the main common factors with these helmets is the fogging issue, right? So you can only imagine how that affects your view. So I mean, like all this hate for like just the aesthetic look of these suits, it's while we want it to be the best. First off, I don't think Hasbro is fully involved in this. I think this is outsourced to like a show company.
Show company.
Yeah, it's like Curlin Live or something. They do some other Hasbro stuff.
So just imagine, like, look at what is it when they do shows on ice. They don't necessarily look like they do on the Disney movies or whatever. It's definitely not the same. I think that's one thing that the fans need to they need to take off. I always say this. They need to take off their fandom goggles, and just look at it from a real life perspective. I'll talk about this when we talk about the episode, but you guys gotta think a little bit like Kai. Stop being so.
You gotta be a skeptic. You gotta be. Sometimes you gotta be a skeptic, and
I mean,
other times you gotta accept.
Like we knew that there was going to be at least a tinge of controversy, mainly because of how people go crazy about a mispainted helmet on a Lightning Collection figure. So, a completely new helmet like this was definitely.
Let's be real. They're ugly as shit. They are ugly as shit. They are ugly.
Hey, you know what? But the thing is, it's funny to think about it. But those helmets, like, I'm thinking they have some level of a budget to go well with. Why is it that the Power Ranger porn helmets and suits look better than? I'm just saying.
Let me throw that shit up. Hold on. Well, first off, they are exerting themselves in a. It won't let me put it up.
Yes. Oh man, see, well, I'm just saying, they fogged up their things too, but still, nonetheless, theirs sometimes look better on screen, or from what we see, than what's happening on
I'm
the
sure a
stage.
few of
So
you know what
that's
they
the
look
sole
like.
thing
I
I'm
mean,
saying.
you guys are Power Ranger fans and you're humans. I'm sure you've crossed paths with.
You guys seen the memes, so come on.
Have any of you guys had a chance to watch the Bloodlines of the Grid?
Not yet.
Yes.
I honestly, it's DJ who's a good friend of ours, Andros, Christopher Kamen Lee, Justin Nemo.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I really, really liked it. I thought the action was great, and I'd love to get DJ on the show to talk about it because DJ also directed it.
Yeah, man.
I think it's a really good, fresh retake on Power Rangers in space.
I did see the spiral saber skills that DJ showed off. That was pretty cool.
Dude, that was like, oh,
I was
okay,
like,
all right.
man, I see you.
I've seen them do it in real life. So, but they were on
that's
it.
coming from the group that also brought us all those Flash movies and all that stuff. So,
well,
exactly.
They're the ones producing it, but DJ and Chris are really the ones helming it. So, I mean, Chris has pitched this idea. I've known this idea for a long years. So I know how it's going to play out, but there's a lot of cool concepts that I'm excited.
Let's reach out. Maybe we'll have them on the show and we'll have a little conversation about the whole process of everything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good. Look, let's get into what we're all here for. Power Rangers Dino Fury, Episode 3, Lost Signal. This was our episode this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to break it down? Let's talk about it a little bit. Now, I'm gonna just bring up some of the highlights of what I thought. Number one, the writing seems a lot better this season. It feels like the writers for Power Rangers have really stepped up their game. This cast is great because I think that they, especially in the main cast, they really understand the comedy beats. Like they really get it. And like Jezer was saying a little bit, this is one of the seasons where I'm actually loving all of the Rangers. Like nobody really sticks out as a favorite yet. I think Russell's great. I think Hunter's great. And I think Kai's great. All in their roles respectively. I think that this season so far has been really firing on all cylinders so far.
Daniel?
Okay. First off, the score is great. Why is no one talking about the score? This show is really trying to expand on what it does. It's going for a far more cinematic approach. First shot we start to hear that beautiful score, and then the camera pans down to where the Ranger is and kind of gives us something, and helps us to remember, we'll figure out some stuff about him, his mother and giving him this, blah, blah, etc. That's great. The acting, once again, good. It's not like, give him a freaking Oscar or anything, but it's kids TV. Yeah. What do you want? It was good. I originally felt that the episode was a filler. I remember telling you guys that earlier. Because I feel that when an episode isn't a filler, it adds on to mythos and things of that nature. Now, Joe had a different opinion. Share that opinion because it changed my opinion.
I think that the episode is full of character development and backstory, something that we don't get a ton of in Power Rangers, or we don't get a ton of it done well. This happened to be done well. And here's an interesting thing, too. Sometimes when we get these alien characters that are Power Rangers in the show, they become so, what's the word I'm looking for? They become so disconnected from humanity that it makes you kind of not care for them. Zato was not that character. Immediately care for Zato, and he fits perfectly as a Red Ranger. And we get the backstory on his planet, and it shows that he actually still cares about the planet. I think that, and again, this isn't anything against Daniel's opinion, because I can completely understand that, because sometimes you're conditioned so much watching Power Rangers to think that nothing's going to tie in. Whereas I think this season now, I think that they have an understanding that, yes, especially with Beast Morphers. Last season, there was connective threads throughout the overarching series that connected all the way to the finale. I think this season is doing it more. And I think this season is doing it pretty cohesively, not saying that last season didn't. But the backstories is what I'm really diving into here, because I think that, like Daniel was saying, if it doesn't connect to the lore, it's kind of like a filler. Whereas I think this one really did connect to the lore, because we get to understand Rathcon, the planet that Zato's from. We get a better understanding. We actually get flashbacks to it, usually in flashbacks with other planets too, hence Dino Charge with Heckle, and even Super Mega Force with Orion. We only got to see their planets very little. Whereas here, we've already seen his planet in episode 1 and in episode 2. So it seems like the lore of Rafcon is going to become more important going forward. We also got this cool message that needs to be deciphered, and where is that coming from, which I think is a great little plot thread there. So I really enjoyed it. Jezzer, what'd you think?
I thought it was good. Like you said, the character development that they're trying to establish for the show is great. I mean, we learned early in the first season the types of characters that we have here, like with Amelia and Ollie, and they're carrying that forward. Where Amelia's, they show that she's believes in all the all that mystical stuff and tarot readings and all that stuff, and then immediately right out of the door, Ollie shoots it down, and he's trying to persuade Zato to not believe in any of that shit. He's more of he's a man of science, and I love the little back and forth that they have together, and even the scene where in order to prove to Zato that it's a whole, the fortune teller is a whole sham, he puts on this little thing where he's like, oh yeah, me and Amelia are in love, and how long is this relationship gonna go? I thought that was brilliant. I thought it was pretty funny to see what they're doing with Ollie's character, for sure.
Do you think that's a little bit of foreshadowing concerning those two characters? Later they will become
maybe
like a couple?
a lot of times like if you look at stuff like Harry Potter, you got Hermione, who's like the straight and narrow type character, and then you got this aloof character like Ron. I think that dynamic always works, and I think that it'll be cliche, but it will be fun to see going forward.
Yeah, and also the speaking of that, I mean, we got touches of that, I feel, in Ninja Steel with Sarah and Preston, but it never went anywhere. I'm hoping that this one does, but even if it doesn't, it still makes sense because this episode establishes it. But if it does pay off, even better. I think there's a lot of directions you can go with the characters of Ollie and Amelia. Another thing too I love is that we're starting to really dive into the characters, like the actual characters. Like we didn't even get Zords until what, like the second episode?
Yeah, second episode, and we only had one Zord in the second episode, and we got the two for this one. So they're really like pacing it.
Yeah, I like that though, because we don't even have the Green and Black Ranger yet, and I think that I almost keep forgetting that there's a Green and Black Ranger yet to come. And I feel like they're doing such a good job of building up anticipation in this episode. Like you said, Jezzer, the pacing in this season is very, very good. One thing also that I wanted to touch on is you mentioned that honey muffin thing about this being a little bit funnier. I think that the writers are actually getting it. And even when Zato had his blindfold on and his sword, and he was like, "Well, I'm going to crack something." Like these little lines here, the actors are performing. They're working. And even the comedy beats, they're not so shoved down your throat like they were in past seasons, which I'm really appreciating from the writers this season so far.
And also with the comedy beats, it's kind of like they're spreading it around evenly. They're not just giving it just to the woman who runs Buzz Blast and her cyborg, whatever, like, her cyborg assistant. They're trying to sprinkle it and give it out to everyone, which makes it great. It's exactly what we should hear.
One other thing, too, that I noticed in the second episode, I know we're talking about the third one, but in the second episode, I feel like Ollie's mom has all the qualities to be a Power Ranger, too. Yeah. Like, she's fierce, she's smart, she's active, you know what I mean? Like, she could be a Ranger if she wanted to be, I feel like. Probably more so than all the other three. Or maybe not
honestly,
Zato, yeah, but
I would love to see her and Salon work together and probably have her work within the little command center that they got, because I think she's just a valuable asset to the team, and they don't even know it yet.
I agree.
Completely agree.
We'll see how that's going to expand.
We really flew through that little mini review. I do have to ask you guys a question. Who do you think that message was from?
Mick, for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
I think if it was a bigger play like the Gold Ranger or someone else, I don't know. I think that it has to be Mick. Maybe Mick's the one that actually brings Green and Black into the fold. I don't know. We got a super chat from the Blur. He says, "Do you think Gold will be introduced in the second half?" From the past few seasons, I think Gold's going to be introduced in the 8th episode, right before hiatus.
Yeah. Yep.
I agree. Yeah, I was just gonna say
Yeah,
that.
I've been rewatching Ryu Soldier, and the pacing that they have is matching up with the pacing that they have for the show. Like they didn't introduce Green and Black well until maybe the fifth, sixth episode, I think. So I
Hey, Jester.
Hmm.
So go ahead. I didn't mean
no,
to cut you off.
I'm done.
I'm glad you are watching, going back and watching Ryu Soldier. Now, the stories though are very different, correct? Because I haven't seen.
Different,
Yeah.
very different. So the
Very.
human side characters are, they're kind of like a news group, or not news group, but like a independent sci-fi type thing, kind of like Chloe from Smallville. The dad is, and then the girl is just like she's a vlogger, and she's like just investigating some weird shit that's happening in her town. But the whole Ryu Soldier thing, it's like a fraternity. It's like not a fraternity, but like an organization that they had. So it's totally different. This one's aliens. That one's a little bit more, knights, and the entities have been there the whole time. So yeah, it's a little different, and it's nice that they're trying something different, and it works. I mean, I guess it works, but aliens and dinosaurs, it is a stretch. It would have been easier to just adapt it, full heartedly.
Uh,
True.
Daniel, so far for you, how is Dino Fury stacking up?
So far, it's starting off well, still looking good. They're getting their footing, but while they're doing that, they're kind of building a foundation. So I'm good for it right now. I just don't want it to be like how Beast Morphers was. Oh, good start, shaky middle, and finishing up very strong. Like it was like, I, give me a season without a shaky middle.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm hoping I get for this one.
This
You know?
is gonna be definitely a precursor to what the future is of Power Rangers for sure. I think that a lot of people want the same. Like it's surprising to me to see like Ranger groups or Twitter or Ranger board or whatever. Everybody is like content with the formula, and they're fine with the formula, and they're fine with it. But I don't see a future with. I don't see a future for the franchise if they keep going with the same formula. So it's nice to see some hints of the show going in the right direction. But we have to, only time will tell if they're actually going to keep going with this.
Well, I'll say that's true, but they are accepting the change. Because, for example, Beast Morphers wasn't an anniversary season, but it did so much to talk about things from older seasons. And that's the thing that was dope for me, because it's like, really, who would you be doing that for? You're not doing it for the kids, because the kids don't remember that stuff from back then. They didn't even see it. They're doing it for us.
I mean,
they're doing it for the older fans. So that this way, it's like, oh my god!
Last episode,
I love this. I love what I remember.
Yeah, even last episode with the introduction of where the cyborg came from, like going back to Operation Overdrive. That's a little Easter egg for some of the Ranger fans, and definitely young fans aren't even. It's just over their head, over the head. And like we've seen from Marvel, like WandaVision, like it's WandaVision itself was planting all these Easter eggs into the show for the fans. And I think that if once Hasbro and Power Rangers can implement that for the older fans, I think that would be great for the show.
Hey, I'm just saying, it's TV-14, man.
Yeah.
And if they can do all of that,
yeah.
Hey, Hasbro.
Definitely.
Hey, we also have that super chat feature. Use it to your own discretion. It helps support the show. It helps everything that we do here. Also, one thing that I thought would have been cool, and I'm cool with this RAFCON thing, seeing how it plays out. But since his name was Zato, I thought he was going to be from Eltar, and then Eltarians can almost shapeshift into looking like other people. Then he was going to look like a human. So, you know what? I'm curious to see what RAFCON, like what RAFCON's all about. So. Yeah. I'm interested. This season, I'm going to go on a limb right now and say this is going to be, and hopefully this sticks true, it's going to be one of the top 5 greatest seasons in Power Ranger history.
All right, here.
I'm going to go
March 6th, March 6th, 2021.
March, is it? Yeah, okay. Yeah, what time? That's all right, 12:24 p.m. Pacific Standard.
So what would you,
Daylight Saving,
if
whatever.
you were to, for Dino Keys, what would you rate it out of 5 Dino Keys?
This episode in particular, I'm gonna go ahead and say 4. The only reason I'm not giving it a 5 is because it still wasn't able to keep my full attention when we got to the Zord.
Dude, it's really hard. It's a really hard sell for you with Zords. Really hard sell.
It's really hard. Like honestly, I would have given last week's episode though a 5.
Okay.
because we didn't get, it wasn't so in your face. And even this one wasn't so in your face. And one thing also that I noticed about the cockpit of the Zords, I know on stills when we saw them before we saw the show, it looked like they were the Rangers were so much bigger and the cockpits were so condensed.
Yeah.
They fit in there. But like looking at it on the show, it looked fine. It looked great.
Yeah. Daniel?
This one gets a 3 out of 5 for me. The Zords really took it down for me. I didn't even realize or notice like the whole Lego connection, but they made sure to put it in the CG ones. And I freaking hate CG Zords.
Yeah.
Please put a guy in a suit. That was great. The red one's in a suit. And then after all the others are like the CG long nose sword. What is?
That's just the design, man. That's the design of it.
I understand. Yeah. It's a 3.
Like honestly, when the 2017 movie Zords came out, and it was like that where you take them apart and put them together, I don't like that. I like the whole fact of like some like the manufacturers like taking an item and being able to transform it in a way, you know. I don't like this like this cheap, oh, take this off, plug it in here. I like the old style, but I mean, I guess this is the future of Power Ranger toys, I guess. I don't know. They probably don't even want to spend too much time in like, you know, engineering an actual design for it, but I mean, it is what it is, I guess. That's for me.
Well, we did get some ratings from you guys in the chat. Robert Amaya gives it a 4.5. Thomas Franco, 4.5. Larry Newbill, 4.5. Blackwing also gives it a 4.5. And look at that. The Blur gives it a 4 out of 5. And he says, and don't shave the goatee, Jezzer.
It's not going to be hard not to shave it because every day I just put a mask over it. I think by the end of this pandemic, I'm just going to take out a mask and it's going to be kind of like Joe's, you know?
No, honestly, having this in a mask now, I mean, it's not as impressive on video as it is in person, but it gets all mixed up in a mask.
Definitely. I'm trying to go for like an evil look. Like I think I'm gonna stick with this haircut for a while. Just keep shaving it and, you know, keep a goatee or facial hair. See how that goes for a while.
You know, you were talking earlier about the future of Power Rangers. Before we get into anything else, I want to congratulate our team on the website, theilluminardi.com. Breaking one of the biggest stories to date, the new title of the X-Men, the new X-Men reboot that's going to be happening, The Mutants. Big story, so go check that out over there. Congratulations to Richard Newbins, who's over on our Marvel show. You can catch him every Thursday night or Friday, depending on what time you're at. So there you go.
My boy Rich, he's killing it. It's all connected. The WandaVision, breakdowns, killing it, man.
Yeah,
killing it. Love it.
Let's talk about news, though, because we weren't here last week. So let's talk about this news a little bit that was going on in Power Rangers. Now, Bryce West, who is also another writer here, he's breaking some of the biggest Power Ranger news here. He was privy to this investors conference call. Now, a lot of you may not know what an investors conference call is. It's not like the Disney one where they're revealing all the new things that are coming out. It's literally an update on the finances of Hasbro and also what's kind of happening with some of the franchises in the future.
Yep.
Some of the bigger takeaways from that was about the reinvention of Power Rangers going forward. So it looks like that we were right on that story. At least it's gearing towards that. Now, nothing official was stated, and let's be honest about this. It's not like Hasbro or Toy is going to be like, hey, by the way, all of you fans out there, we're parting ways and see what happens.
No,
it's not going to go down, guys.
No.
So, but we are keeping you guys up to date with everything that is transpiring, and we do have more information on what's coming out into the future, but we are not ready to release that quite yet because there's a few. Look, just like I've said in the past, and I'll say it again, I do actually check these stories out. So I have to make sure that a few things come together for us to deliver some more on the future of the franchise. But I will say this: the future looks bright and exciting for Power Rangers, and I think this is what it needs. I think, look, let's be honest, guys. Why would Hasbro, one of the biggest toy companies in the world, acquire the rights to a toy franchise and be handcuffed to stuff that they're only doing in Japan?
Yeah.
That makes no sense.
No, but the other side of the argument that people are giving us on Twitter is like, why would Hasbro spend all this money and not continue a live action show?
Well, that's a great question, and mainly because we already discussed this in our previous episodes where the live action show wasn't drawing the ratings it expected, or the toy sales for that matter. With that being said, now that they can kind of create their own universe and put in their own designs, their own Zords. Look, bar none, Hasbro might be the best at making mech toys overall. I mean, those Transformers, especially the new Transformers toys. I'm not even a Transformers guy, and I know that those are amazing. So, look, they have a market already for this mech system, so why not just create it on their own? And why not? And look, let's be honest, Hasbro has so many properties in production right now. There are currently a live action Transformers project and another animated project, which we're going to have information on very soon. And they're making Mask, and Daniel knows Mask.
Yep.
We on Mask together.
Also, Beast
they're
Wars,
making
right?
that. What's
Yes,
that?
they
Beast
are.
Wars?
Beast
Wars.
Alliance.
Beast Alliance.
Beast Alliance.
Well, there you go.
It's a new title for the Bumblebee spinoff. So Hasbro has a lot going on, and there's a lot to kind of check out with the upcoming universe of Power Rangers. But it opens the door for new content as well, streaming content. We know that this stuff is going to YouTube, so it really puts a prime example on what their YouTube channel can be with Power Rangers stuff, and especially creating that new Power Rangers stuff. Now, Jezer, correct me if I'm wrong. When Transformers movies started coming out, were there shows airing concurrently?
A little. I think after the first or second movie came out, they had Transformers Prime.
So essentially, what they did is they shelved the brand for a little bit, on their week-to-week animated show to concentrate on the movie. I feel like Hasbro has had great success in doing this. So, look, they're a major company with a major production company behind them, especially with their ties to Paramount now. I think that everyone can, breathe easy a little bit. But if you're a traditionalist and you like the Super Sentai, and I do too, I love the Super Sentai adaptions. But we just kind of got to embrace the future and see what happens.
Yeah. Like I said earlier in the show, the formula that Saban and Disney and all them were doing, it wasn't producing for what Hasbro wants. Hasbro, like when you come under new management, you want to always improve. And a lot of times people within the company are going to be resistant to it because you're comfortable with the way things are. But at the end of the day, like I've said so many times when we talk about this topic, it's all about the money. It's all about the money. You gotta audible. You gotta do things in order to make it up to your investors. We all know what investor meetings are. We all know when investors put money into something, they want to see a return. And there's not going to be a return if you keep the formula the same. So in order to appease their investors, they have to show some form. They have to show a plan for how they're gonna fix how things are. Now it's gonna be different for the fandom. Yes, it's gonna be different, but it's gonna be just a change that we all just have to stick around for. And I think it's gonna be, in the long run, it's gonna be good.
Look, Power Rangers has yet to scratch the surface on getting to that mainstream category, like Justice League or like DC and like Marvel. Hell, even Transformers for that matter. I think that Power Rangers, if done correctly, can be right there with it. Especially acquiring some of these bigger actors to come on board. I think though Dino Fury is a step in the right direction, at least live action wise, because this is an adapted season that they're taking and doing their best with it. But I'm really curious to see what happens going forward. We know there's an animated project coming down the pipeline. We know that there's a live action movie coming down the pipeline. The only thing we don't know is the status of the live action series. Yeah. Daniel, what do you think? What do you think the future holds for Power Rangers in terms of the live action series front?
In terms of the live action series front, it all depends on what they're doing for supplemental outlets. Are they going to do an animated? If they're going to do animated, are they going to do two? Are they going to do one that's like a chibi kind of show for the kids, and then one that's a little bit more action oriented for possibly the same age rank that they're doing with now? And then if they do that, will they age up the show, the live action? That's what a lot of people are thinking. I think it's going to be a little bit different from that. I think animated will be TV-14. The live action show will stay as it is in this kind of age range, because that's how it's known right now. And to go ahead and just, all right, one season finally ended. That was, whatever it is, TVY7. And then here's a new live action season and it's TV-14. hold on, whoa, my kid can't watch, like it would be a lot of that whole change. Parents walking past the TV and hearing a ranger say something that's, slightly adult, or just aged. It would be a huge change. And, there would be parents blocking the kids' ears and eyes and, no, I can't watch this. And ratings would also tend to change as well. So I think the animated would be better to age up and leave this one still the way it is. Unfortunately, I know people want something different, but leave it as it is. Make the film probably also aged up a little bit more.
Jezra, who is the pressure on at this point? Is the pressure on Hasbro, the company? Is the pressure on Jonathan Entwistle and his new Power Ranger universe? Or is the pressure on the show with Simon Bennett? Where do you think the pressure lies for the fans? Or for the fans, the pressure from the fans on any one of those?
All right. This is going to piss off a lot of people. I think there is no pressure on Simon Bennett whatsoever anymore. None.
I agree.
There's no pressure on it. Like, even when they made the announcement during the conference, Simon Bennett was on Twitter actively looking at the response because he knows he's known from the get-go. He's known since he started that it's going to be a short-term employment thing, and Jonathan Entwistle is going to be taking the reins. I think that the pressure is definitely on Jonathan Entwistle and Hasbro to relieve that pressure. This is what's going to piss people off a little bit. As far as live action is strictly going to be It's strictly going to be movies. The future for Power Rangers in television is going to be animation. That's the future for Power Rangers. It's going to be animation, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Me and Joe often talk about how great the Nickelodeon, not the most current one, but the last one, the Ninja Turtles series was, and it was great for all ages. The way that it brought old fans with some of the Easter egg stuff that they had and new fans, I think that's what the future of Power Rangers is going to be. As far as TV, I think that live action, when you guys want live action, it's going to be movies. It's 100% going to be movies, and it's not going to be like, one movie every 6 to 10 years. No, it's going to be a movie every 2 years. Every 2 years, they're gonna be giving you a movie, and I think that that's just the future of it. That's why there's no pressure on Simon Bennett. Simon Bennett, after this series, come 2023, he's gonna be free of all of it, and Jonathan Entwistle is gonna have to find a way to connect the live action movies and the animated series, and I think that's where it's going. I think the pressure is on him right now. He's trying to figure out a way to connect a movie series and an animated series and make it work, concurrently. I think that's what the pressure is.
With that added pressure coming from Jonathan Entwistle, do you think that they throw the continuity out of the last 20 plus years, almost 30 years of Power Rangers television show and start fresh? Yes. Or do you think somehow it all ties together?
Yes, I think that they're not going to forget the history of Power Rangers, and a lot of the history is going to be intertwined with the new reinvented Power Rangers, the new rebooted Power Rangers, but they are restarting. Like I always say, it's like New 52. They're restarting, but they're not forgetting the lore and the information that has happened in the past. They might reintroduce it in the new universe, but they're restarting. They're fixing continuity, and that's something that fans have been wanting for a while. It's just going to be a matter of them accepting the new regimen.
I agree. Now, Bryce has an interesting thought here. He says maybe they can move Simon Bennett to the animated series. Well, show running an animated series and show running a live action series are completely different animals. Completely different animals, different timetables, different workflow, different everything. It's almost as if it's almost like an athlete playing football and then going to play basketball. Yeah, completely different. Completely different. So who knows? I mean, I'm excited for what the future does hold. And look, as you guys know this, we tend to report on this stuff first. We will have some Power Ranger news coming very soon. I just want to make sure it's accurate enough to put out there. And I felt like last time I teased this, it was the big split with Toy, and then we blew it up, right? So look, any information that we're going to get, you guys are going to be the first to know, but I got to make sure it all checks out. So
what you guys don't know, before we released the information on who the Dino Fury cast was, Joe was sitting on that for a long time. a long time. Even the Ryu Soldier being the new adapted, we sat on that for a long time. So you really have to have your ducks in a row before you release something.
Yeah, I know, and that's a thing too. I know we've taken criticisms from some other Power Ranger outlets for, and I'm going to do this as respectfully as I can. We've taken criticism from other Power Ranger outlets for sensationalizing headlines and turning editorials into fact. That's not the case. Our editorials, our features, those are mostly theory pieces that they are, but our news, we present it as news, whether or not people want to accept that or not, because that's really up to them. But I'm not here to hate on any other Power Ranger outlet. I wish them all the best, but like at the end of the day, like nobody can really deny our track record, and that's one thing I can stand behind. It's not about gloating. It's not about flexing.
It's about credibility, buddy.
Just speaks for itself.
Yeah. But I think that's everything we have for today, right, you guys?
Yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Man, what a hell of a show. I feel like, look, Dino Fury has me really excited. Oh, Jezra made a great comment in our. We have a little chat between the three of us. Jezra made a great comment in our little chat. Can we get these lightning figures already? These suits are gorgeous.
Yeah, 100%. Like, we haven't seen them. They're not introducing a line. Like, I don't know. It's crazy. I am getting my Atom figure today, a little earlier than expected. Pretty excited.
I gotta order that line. I haven't even ordered that line yet.
Oh, no. This is the last line. The line that you're ordering is.
I forgot to order that line.
Oh shit! Damn.
Yeah.
A+ Morphonormal says check out Pacific Rim.
I still don't have my putty.
Huh?
I still don't have my Green Ranger Tommy. I still don't have my putty. I'm behind a little bit.
Yeah. Shit, you need to catch up, bro. You need to catch up.
Catch up. I gotta get on it. I gotta get on it.
Hey, before we get off, A+ More Phenomenal says check out Pacific Rim: The Black on Netflix. He says it's a great sense of what animation could do for Power Rangers. I've seen that animation, that cell shading kind of stuff.
It's anime, isn't it?
On Ajin. Yeah, it's Ajin. It's the Pacific Rim. That stuff is dope. They even use it for the Godzilla anime that they're having on Netflix, and the Ultraman, which they talk about on. I
would love for them to go with like the
show with L.
I would love.
Ranger Wrap Up, the show that used to be on.
Yes, Retro Ranger Wrap Up. They're talking about it. They're talking about Ultraman right now.
I would love for them to go with like a Voltron type Netflix show look.
That's what I want.
Because I feel like you can build a whole world within that. Like you can start from the very beginning. You can start with Zordon, you know. You could start fresh, you know. So like
I think that's a great idea. Just starting in the that's another cool thing too that I like that Dino Fury is doing is that I know we got the Morphin Masters in that first episode, but we do get this. We're getting the Zordon backstory in the comic right now. I mean, it is a great starting point, man.
So like that perfectly. It just came up. You know, it just came up with right now. The movies could be MMPR, but the animated series could be predating that. Like this could be the prequels, and then the current season, and then eventually they're gonna just come together. I think that's a way to keep two separate things, but keep them both in the same universe. Who knows?
I like that.
Who knows? But you guys. Daniel, where can we find you on social media, buddy?
You can find me on Instagram, Battlestar Galactica. Just check me out there. That's where I do everything. Jezzer, Joe?
You can find me on all social media at Jezzer Zeus. Joe?
You can find me on all social media at Joe Illuminerdi. You can check us out at The Illuminerdi. You please hit that like, share, and subscribe button. You are watching The Illuminerdi, where we make things trend in geek pop culture.
I like that. I like that.
We make the trending. We make trending. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I know you guys could be anywhere else on your Saturday, but you're here with us, and we truly, truly appreciate that. We still got a Star Trek show, and then they're doing the finale of Ultraman over at the Retro. It's not Retro. It's going to be Retro Ranger, but still trying to figure things out. So join them. I
think they are doing Lightspeed Rescue after because, the option, you can buy it digitally, so they're still going to do Lightspeed Rescue after this Ultraman break.
So thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys have a good weekend. Peace.
Later, guys.